finally out with the old and in with the new. And it's kind of crazy how the old kitchen has transformed into this new modern one. Most of the appliances actually are the same besides the stovetop because there's no point to really replace it. But everything else has a modern touch, a modern finish, and it's just amazing. So if you've been following the entire transformation process, then you know what happened in part 1 and part 2 of the video. And if you haven't caught up, go ahead and take a look. There's just some great tips in there on what it really takes to get everything organized to renovate any part of your home. In the final stage in this video, what I'm going to show you is what really brought everything together. A lot of the major construction and destruction work was completed at the end of part 2 of the video, and we got some big stuff in, like the countertop, the stove got installed, the sink, oh my god, the sink got installed, and that was such a lifesaver. And what we didn't get until the very end was that dishwasher, and that was just so annoying because I know it may seem like a first world problem, but guess what? I am in a first world, so I think it makes sense that I have first world problems. So the dishwasher, like, it got tiring. I mean, that was enjoyable to have fun with the new huge sink. I just love the one huge basin instead of the divider. It just works for our workflow basically. Like, it just works for us and it's just perfect for us. And we have a nice drying setup on the sink itself, so we have more counter space. And as you all know, counter space and storage space is our primary goal behind this whole renovation, besides making it a bit more modern. Now, I'm pretty happy with the stove. I went with the electrical option. I would have chosen gas as my first preference, but this building does not have gas, and induction wouldn't have worked for a couple of things that I need, and then like a stovetop for, because I want to sometimes roast eggplant, let's say, or like roast bread directly on like with the wire rack on the stove itself. And with induction, you always need to have a cooktop for that thing to turn on. So that's kind of annoying, but I do have a portable induction if I ever need that method. And for anybody else who has gone through a kitchen renovation, that's one of the hardest renovations to live through, because food, you eat that every day. And we were finally able to graduate from cooking on the dining table and eating on the couch to actually cooking on the stove and eating on the dining table and then chilling on the couch. Well, I guess we chilled earlier too, but it's just nicer to have that dedicated space for your stove. We did have the island already done, so it was pretty good to have the prep on this side, and let's move it over to then cook on that side, because there was no countertop earlier. It was just a big hole and you could just see inside. You can see that in some of the pictures that I'm putting up here. And the countertop was another big piece, and they actually took the measurements. They made a major mistake where they assumed that the walls are a 90-degree. They didn't bother checking, and I guess there was some miscommunication between the contractor, the stone contractor. I had no idea. I don't plan this, right? And they brought in the countertop in one piece, and you should have seen the way they brought that in. It seemed pretty secure, but still, this thin piece of thing just standing on its side, it was a bit nerve-wracking. But I guess if they broke it, they would have replaced it. They wouldn't be charging me, or if they did, I'd be like, hell no. So they bring it in and they install it, and then everything was looking super nice. I was pretty happy with it. But then once the rose-colored or rose-tinted glasses went off and I was actually looking at each and every detail, I noticed that near the drawer and the fridge, the countertop was way pushed in as compared to next to the stove. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Storm Contractor, what's up? Is this normal? Did you plan for this? And they thought it was off. And I got the contractor to look at that as well, and even they thought that it seems kind of weird that it's like that, and we have to figure something out. And turns out this wall behind me is not exactly 90, plus right over here it's actually kind of comes out a bit. So there's an ever so slight gap right behind the stove, so it's not completely flush, which I guess is a bit of an annoyance, but I don't see it anymore. Like when I first knew that there was a gap and that it's not going to be flush, I would see that gap every single day and it would make me want to, I don't know, pull my hair out. But you just see what you want to see, I guess. And once you stop fixating on it, you are like, oh, it's actually not that bad. So I had to sleep on it a couple of nights because they did what they could, and without major changes and ripping everything off again, I don't even know if it's even worth it, honestly. It's like, it's fine, it's whatever. So the countertop had to be taken back. That like push it into the wall a bit and then basically kind of shimmy it like this so that it pulls out next to the drawer but pushes in ever so slightly behind me so that it's the overlap, the lip with the countertop and the actual cabinets downstairs is even throughout, and that was pretty good. There were a couple of gaps right behind the countertop where the walls meet the countertop that had to be filled in, but that had to be filled in anyways when we were gonna do the backsplash. And that was a fun but kind of an annoying process to pick which backsplash is gonna go with our kitchen, what aesthetic we wanna go for. And we just honestly had to wait until we got the lights in. We didn't have any of the electrical working until the very end. Only the stove was the electrical piece with the fridge that was functional, and without lights and with a white countertop and just a dark kitchen, it was impossible for us to kind of get an idea of what color would really work. So we pushed that till the very end. Once all the electricals were done, that's when we got a couple of samples in, and we just decided, let's just match with the countertop. The countertop is all white with a couple of gray rays here and there, some gray pattern, and that's just what we did. There's not enough that I can say about that sink, and I really love it. It's by Kraus and it's just this deep basin. We have a little silicone mat that we use as our drying rack. Now something that you might wonder is, I did all this, and is there something that I would do differently if I had to do this all over again? And I don't think I would, because there's nothing that's going to be perfect. I went through this experience and I learned a lot of stuff. I learned about stuff that I didn't even know I had to think about. So the next time I do it, I will know all these new things that I learned about with this experience and then apply it to the next one. And even if I apply everything that I've learned in the next one, does not guarantee that there won't be other new stuff that I don't think about for the next renovation or whatever that is. And there will be things that I always keep learning. And I'm sure you all have lots of questions in your mind if you are planning or in the middle of a renovation, or if you are wondering if it's even worth it. Well, put that all down in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer it, because I think any sort of help, any sort of guidance, any sort of context is valuable for anybody going through this. I am super happy with this renovation, this whole process, and it went relatively quickly. We even went for a vacation in the middle and it was fine. The biggest hump was, I guess, the cooking and the washing, but we kind of got used to it. We're pretty adaptable. I guess it could have been worse, but it wasn't, so that's good. But right now, I want you all to tell me what you want to see next. You want to know more about the kitchen, more recipes, or when we react and review recipes from TikTok or other shorts that you find interesting. Let me know all of that down below, and if you want to learn more about that stove, I did a comparison about the convection feature compared to an air fryer, and I think you're going to find that really helpful, so check that out.